Namaste. In the second session on yoga psychology, we will discuss sanskars, or what are called impressions, which are actually the building blocks of character. Vivekananda used to say, character is nothing but a bundle of sanskars. ये शब्द हम हिंदी में बहुत यूज करते हैं संस्कार, लेकिन इंग्लिश में इनको the impressions born of conscious thought ऐसे ही कहते हैं. So these are the most important things about our mental life and hence about human life and character. Because what you think repeatedly in the conscious mind, that goes to become strong impressions in the subconscious. And they are the building blocks of our character, our behavior, our very speech, our attitudes, our thinking. And they are also responsible for our memories. So sanskars are the most essential part of human life. Actually, education should be about the creation of sanskars, creating the right building blocks for a great character. So this is how sanskars are formed, by conscious vrittis getting repeated again and again. When you think of something repeatedly, you create a sanskar, which goes and lodges itself in the subconscious. Please see, the vritti happens in the conscious mind, but the sanskar can remain in the subconscious mind. And these sanskars are responsible for your memories. They fructify further on into memories. So this chakra, the vritti, sanskar and memory cycle goes on day and night. The Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the commentary on the Yoga Sutras says this, that this keeps our mind busy. Because constantly either it is thought or it is the unfolding of some past impression as memory, or something getting repeated in the conscious mind and lodging itself in the subconscious again. So this cycle goes on and keeps us busy with our minds. Our entire knowledge and perception, thinking, is to a great extent guided by our sanskars. So if we have the right building blocks, and these have to be laid in the early years of life, then we can be sure that our thinking, our perceptions, our attitudes, and finally our behavior in the outer world will be very good, very reliable. And without these solid, good building blocks within us, you can never know what kind of thoughts, perverted behavior, all kinds of attitudes, and kind of deviant behavior finally can also come into one's life. So the creation of good sanskars is so very important. How do we generate sanskars? Through repeated good conscious thinking and through action. When you repeatedly think rightly, think good things, take in good stuff through the senses and think about it. And when you perform good actions, naturally sanskars, good tendencies or impressions are created in the subconscious mind. So it is very simple. The gateway to the subconscious is through the conscious mind. Repeat good thoughts there, perform good actions with your hands, and you will generate good sanskars in the subconscious. So all the methods are there. The essential thing is to apply it. What are the types of sanskars? Yoga psychology, it dwells long on this concept of sanskars and gives us enormous knowledge about vrittis and sanskars so that we are able to handle our minds maturely. There are different types of sanskars. See, Patanjali has classified them into all these types. First of all, there are the kleshas. Please watch this slide. It will give you an idea of all these sanskars. First of all, there are these kleshas. Kleshas actually mean afflictions. So wrong thoughts, thought out repeatedly. Many times we have negativities in our mind and we repeat them unconsciously. So they go and lodge themselves into our subconscious as kleshas. They are afflictions. They produce sorrow, they produce hurt, they produce resentment. And a whole lot of our psychological structures and our ego is based on all these negativities, kleshas in our mind. So kleshas, afflictions are again of many types. Like Patanjali says, avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh. These are the common kleshas, which means ignorance, that means lack of right knowledge about something, and then a strong sense of ego, not based on the reality of your being, then attachment, aversion, hatred, and irrational fears like the fear of death. All these are kleshas. They are strong afflictions in the form of negative sanskars. They repeatedly generate memories which are frightening, which are negative, which finally you don't want to live with your mind. It becomes like that. So this is the cause for depression, frustration, etc. in mind. If we have not generated the right building blocks, how can we expect to have a good life? You may have all the good things of the world around you, but if your thoughts are not good, and finally, if the building blocks of the mental life, which are the sanskars, if they are not good, then definitely we are not going to have a good experience of life. This is the whole point. So this is the first type of sanskar. The second type are what are called vidya sanskars. These are the good knowledge sanskars which we get from the world. Almost all of our thought process, which is based on sense perceptions, which is based on things we have thought out, knowledge basically is vidya. So all of these sanskars are also there in our subconscious, waiting to support us, waiting to hold our mind and give it positivity. So the more we dwell on good thoughts, good ideas, great ideas, inspirational things of inspirational value, the more vidya sanskars will be generated. And these will support our mental life. They will make sure that we remain in positivity. We have good thoughts, we have good intentions, and naturally good behavior on the outside. The third type of sanskars, which are the really dangerous ones, are the bhog sanskars, which means the deep-rooted impressions of pleasure and pain. These are what are called bhog in Sanskrit. So these are so strong in the mind that they constantly upsurge, in the sense they come out as different types of memories. There may be memories of pleasurable things you have experienced. There may be memories of painful things you have experienced. And many times you are not able to overcome those memories. You forget all the beautiful incidents of your life, but you cling to the painful incidents of your life. Somebody hurt you with some small word maybe, but you still remember it after 10 years. So all this happens because bhog sanskars are there in the subconscious and they constantly produce our memories. So these sanskars also can be overcome again by changing our conscious thought patterns, because what you think consciously, that is going to enter your subconscious and become your sanskar. So repeatedly thinking about good positive things in life, noble things, inspiring things, higher values, acts of kindness, love and service, all this will naturally change any of the negative sanskars in our minds, like kleshas, bhog sanskars, all these. And of course, there are different levels of happiness. To overcome the basic instincts of pleasure, it is important to condition the mind into higher levels of happiness. And that is why the experiences of higher knowledge, devotion, service, kindness, help, giving, sharing, the experiences of deep level committed love, all these will overcome the bhog sanskars based plainly on instinctive habits. So these are the ways by which we gradually change our mental life and the thought process itself. The fourth type of sanskar is what is called karmashay. It is the result of the mental effect of actions which you have performed. Whenever we perform an action, we usually see only the physical effect in the outer world. But there is a deeper effect, and that is internal. The action itself has created a deep impact or impression in your mind. That impression is karmashay. It is also a sanskar. So if you have performed good actions, you will have good sanskars in your mind. And if you have performed bad actions, naturally the building blocks of your character, the sanskars will be negative, will be bad. So make sure that the easiest way to change the content of your mind is to perform good actions all your life. Make it a philosophy of life that on an everyday basis you are able to contribute positively to the life of another, and keep away from anything that constitutes negative karma. So that's why the huge concepts of punya and papa, merit and demerit in Hindu psychology. It is only due to this that you make sure that your mental life remains positive by performing good karma always, good actions, so that your sanskars, the karmashaya sanskars, which constitutes a huge portion of your sanskars, always remain good, positive, reliable. They give you happiness. They don't make you morose. They don't make you feel bad about yourself. So this can be done by oneself. And then the next type of category of sanskars are what are called nirodh sanskars. These are sanskars of control, wherever you have restrained yourself. These type of sanskars will help you build better and better character, because many times fear and such sanskars can actually help to keep other sanskars from coming into manifestation. Many times it so happens that somewhere, if you have fear of exams, you will study hard, isn't it? If you have fear of losing your job, you will be all the more committed to whatever you are doing. So many of our sanskars, one sanskar controls the other. So nirodh sanskars are sanskars of restraint. Whenever you have restrained yourself so as to develop something in you, then we call this as nirodh. And at the deepest level of yoga, they are sanskars where you have completely tried to control the mind. So these only those who are sadhaks will understand how important these sanskars are. Every time you won on the path of yoga, that level of awareness and knowledge remained with you, that you will carry on in your further struggles towards the highest knowledge of life. So nirodh sanskars thus are important. And then, of course, you generate the highest sanskars of bhakti and prajna. Through spiritual practice and experience, these are produced. There's no other way. If you have deep level devotion and if you have higher knowledge, then these sanskars, which usually they come through spiritual practice or the grace of the guru. So this is a very deep level sanskar which can actually transform your entire mind. The actual sanskar of bhakti and prajna. So these are all the sanskars that we are capable of, and they decide almost everything about our mental life. Now we must know, and Yoga Sutras points out to this expressly, that these sanskars manifest in different ways at different points of time in our life. How do they manifest? So they have even given us different levels of manifestation of your impressions, the sanskars. The first level is called prasupta avastha, which means when the sanskar is hidden, as it were. Please watch this slide. So you can see there the picture of the tiger in different postures. So when the tiger is it is yet unmanifested, its energies, it's just sitting, then you call it the prasupta avastha. So the sanskars within you are just lying there dormant or latent. As in the case of children, they have not yet manifested. The next stage is the udara stage, where the sanskar has come into manifestation. Like full forced manifestation, as it were. So this is in the case of uncontrolled youth. You can see this, the entire manifestation of the sanskars of the mind can come out. The next stage of manifestation of sanskars is called vichinna, which means the sanskars are there but hidden. They have not come into manifestation, but they are very much there. And many times it so happens that one sanskar in this stage is controlled by another. Like for example, in a thief, the sanskar of robbing somebody is controlled by the police. So this is the vichinna state, where there are all sorts of sanskars in the mind but unexpressed and hidden. The next state of manifestation is called tanu. When through self-control, through discipline, through a well-regulated life, through a sattvic mode of life, you are able to attenuate and weaken the negative sanskars. Then you enter the tanu state of sanskars. You are manifesting only goodness, and the rest are under check, under control. So this is the normal state of a sadhak and of a person who leads a good life, a moral life. So this is the tanu state of sanskars. The next one is called niruddha state, where you have attained a certain level of mastery or control over your sanskars. Not that they have vanished. The negative sanskars may still be there in the subconscious, but to a great extent they are mastered. So this is beautifully expressed in the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, in this particular shloka, which says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. Which means sense objects fall away from a person who doesn't indulge. He is well controlled. He has attained mastery over the different negativities, the different pleasure instincts in him. He has attained mastery over that. But not that the sanskars have entirely vanished. In seed form, they may be still present in the subconscious. But he is a man of self-control now. He is the typical successful sadhak. But who is able to overcome them completely? Only the man of self-knowledge, one who has realized the self. So, rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Only when one gets the highest knowledge, these sanskars, all the negative sanskars of his mind, the sanskars of basic instincts, all of these get absolutely burnt out, like a burnt seed. So that's the next stage of the sanskar manifestation, what is called the dagdha bija state. Very beautifully described in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, which means a state where all these negative sanskars have been burned down completely, like a burnt seed. It can't germinate anymore. So now the sanskars have no more capacity to generate vrittis or memories. They are completely vanquished, as it were. So this state produces the great calmness of the yogi, the absolute self-control, the intense clarity of knowledge which he has, and the powerful character which he manifests. So this is a result of the dagdha bija state of sanskars in his mind, which means everything that was negative, that was purely sensual, has been completely purified, burnt in the fire of knowledge. As a result of his self-knowledge, he has attained this state. It's a state of complete purification. And this is how sanskars achieve the highest goal of human life for us. It is through the power of spiritual sanskars that one is able to control the merely sensual and sense-related sanskars of the mind. Many times, you see, we may be good people. We are good in behavior, but we are not strongly moral. We are not perfectly integrated within ourselves. This is a possibility in society. So, the way to overcome this is to generate higher sanskars in the mind, to generate an ambience where such sanskars can be produced, to generate an education where this level of character can be produced. Then we will have real rishis in society. We will have men who are really of this type, who are utterly pure in their very being, to the very core of their being, who are men of self-realization. So Sri Ramakrishna also points out to this. You will find it in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna many times. In fact, I can tell you this, the difference between a yoga bhrashta and a jivan mukta lies in to what extent they have produced this dagdha bija state of sanskars. A yoga bhrashta is one who has generated high-level awareness, who has generated positive sanskars, but who has again gone back, reverted back to his negativities also. He has turned back to a pleasure-driven life. Then he becomes a yoga bhrashta. But a jivan mukta is one who has completely transcended that level by burning up his sanskars so that they can't germinate into any form of mundane vritti anymore. As a result, he gets perfect liberation in this very life. So he becomes the jivan mukta. It is entirely, please remember, our life and character is entirely to do with sanskars. And what we manifest on the outer plane is It's only a manifestation of what we have within ourselves. So the changes have to be made within ourselves. This is the whole point. Vrittis and sanskars have to be regulated in the human mind for great character to be manifested in human life. Thank you very much.